Hi, I'm Stephanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you 4 quick tips to help you survive and even occasionally thrive at parenting. Quick little disclaimer, I just want to let you know that the things that I'm telling you today, I do not do perfectly. I do not claim to be a perfect mom. I don't claim to have perfect children, and there even may be some things that we disagree on, and that's okay too. But hopefully a couple of these tips will help some of you out there that may just need a little bit of encouragement and a little bit of guidance. All right, let's jump right in. Step 1 is to speak life over our kids. And I'm talking about what we say to our kids, I'm talking about what we say in front of our kids, and I'm even talking about what we say about our kids to other people and what we allow them to say about our kids in front of us. So first, let's talk about what we speak over our children or to our children. You know, the Bible talks about how our words have the power of life and death, and I really do believe that. And what we say to our kids are going to live up to. And so I think it's really important not to be like toxically positive, but to find the things to praise them on, to be careful when we're overly criticizing. You know, sometimes it's best to just pull back a little bit, and I've been guilty of that myself, of just saying too much or overly criticizing and not finding the positive. But it's really important to find things to praise them for. And I'm not talking about empty compliments. I'm not saying to say you're awesome. What I'm saying is to be specific with them. When you catch them doing something great, call that to attention. You know, you might say, you know, son, I noticed that you got the door for your sister. I'm so proud of you. You're always so thoughtful and kind. Or, you know, find something specifically that they're doing and call that characteristic out in them. Speak that over them. You know, sometimes they need encouragement. Sometimes they feel discouraged. Sometimes they feel like they're not the smartest or they're not the best or they messed up in a certain area. And that's okay. You know, let them know we all make mistakes. All we can do is learn from it and call out some things that are great about them for them to feel better about themselves. Just be intentionally speaking life over your kids. We all need to be very, very careful what we say negatively about our kids, especially in front of them. And this doesn't mean that we're never going to have anything negative to say to our kids. I mean, of course, our kids do need correction sometimes. They need discipline sometimes. They need instruction and guidance. And sometimes they need to be told, like, hey, what you did wasn't okay and this is why. But I just mean in the general day-to-day, watch what you're speaking over your kids. Are you focusing on the good? Or are you focusing on the bad? Are you remembering that whenever you do criticize, to make sure you're including the good things as well? It really does go a long way. And their self-esteem is really built up in what they hear us saying to them and also what they hear us saying about them. And that sort of leads into the next thing, is it's important to be mindful what we say about our kids. And this is something that I've had to work on, especially in today's culture. I think it's just so popular and common to hear us moms complaining about being moms and complaining about our kids and talking about how our kids don't listen and all they do is fight and this one's so jealous and this one that and this one. You know, that's really not how we should be talking about them. And it's okay to have one person or a counselor or a journal or some space for you to maybe vent or to have a safe person to talk about or to talk to about these things. But in general, we need to watch what we say about our kids. Although it might be tempting to share a bunch of stories or talk about all the bad things our kids are doing or have been doing, it's really not the best decision to do that. It sort of reinforces bad behavior, and it changes how we look at our kids. It also can affect how somebody else might look at our kids. And I think that we forget sometimes that our kids are really just tiny humans. They're just smaller, younger humans. And one day they're going to be adults. And I know I wouldn't want my kids talking bad about me to other people or telling everybody every mistake I make or telling everybody what a bad mom I am or telling everybody if I get into a bicker or a fight with my husband or a friend or whatnot. You know, some things should be kept private, and like we should really try to protect our kids as our family from negative talk, even negative talk from us. And I know that that's a tough one, but trust me, practice it. It really does make a difference. The last thing I want to say about what we speak over our children is also being protective about what we allow to be said about our children to us. And I think that people are really quick to come up and just make comments about our kids. It's all innocent. Nobody means anything bad by it. It's sort of culture. You know, I have a spirited middle child, and he was my baby for many years, and people would approach us sometimes and they would say, oh, you're going to have to worry about that one. Well, that's not something I really want spoken on him. And I don't believe that to be true. I refuse to believe that to be true. And actually, he's an amazing teenager now, and it turned out it wasn't true. And so what I recommend, and what I've done many times, is when somebody comes up and says something like that over your kids, just politely explain that that's not the case. So like if somebody would come up and tell me about one of my children, oh, you're going to have to watch out for that one, I would say, oh no, this one is not one I'm ever going to have to worry about. He is so he has so much tenacity and determination and such a good heart. I'm never going to have to worry about that one. Or whatever the truth may be for you, but just combat that with truth. And I mean, there have even been times where it was sort of inappropriate for me to do that. And in my head, I'm like, no, I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. Like, whatever you have to do, but don't just allow those things to be spoken over your kids. Be careful that people aren't talking bad about your kids, and that you don't allow that. And I think that that's something that we don't pay much attention to. We just tend to, you know, say things about other people's kids, or allow people to say things about our kids, and we don't think anything about it. But what I'm encouraging you to do is to put a stop to that. So that leads us to tip number 2, which is to watch what we think about our kids. And watching what we think about our kids is going to help us to watch what we speak about our kids, because what we're thinking tends to come out of our mouth. And so it really does start in the mind. I would just encourage you, and this is hard, because mamas, like, we have bad days. Our kids have bad days. As kids, we have bad days as moms. It happens. Parenting, it's not easy. It's not for the faint-hearted. And sometimes we're going to be feeling yucky about the whole situation, or we might feel frustrated, or we might feel angry. And what I would encourage you to do is to take the thought captive. You know, the Bible talks about that too, is just taking every thought captive and bringing it into obedience. And so it's okay to feel the feeling, but get control of the thought, and be careful what you allow yourself to think, what judgments you allow yourself to make. You know, for example, but I might be having a bad day, and I might think, oh, I hate being a mom, or oh, my kids are so bad. Instead of rolling with that thought, okay, just observe it, because we're the observer of our thoughts. We are not literally our thoughts. We are the ones that hear the thought. So observe the thought and think about the feeling where that came from. So what I might be feeling if I'm thinking something like that, I might be feeling tired. I might be feeling irritable or cranky. I might be hungry. I might be frustrated because my kids are doing this or doing that, or we've been through this 10 times already, or I might be feeling angry or mad, or a number of things. And acknowledge those feelings. It's important to recognize them, that you're feeling a certain way, but then rebuke the thought and try to replace it with something else. You know, do you really hate being a mother? Do you really hate it every second of the day? No, of course not. You're just having a bad moment. And so just call it what it is. I try to just be realistic about it. And all of this is easy to say when we're actually in these moments and having bad thoughts, or being really emotional. It is kind of hard to get a grip on that. But it's a practice. But practice being careful what you think about your kids, about motherhood, about all of it. And this is good advice for any relationship, not just being a mom. This is good advice if you're a wife, being careful what you think about your spouse. This is good in your friendships, in your relationships with your parents and your siblings, and anybody that you want a good relationship with. Practice what you're thinking about them and bringing that into something positive and something more realistic and not like catastrophic. And this is tough, and I'm not saying that you never need to vent or have conversations with somebody. That's another talk for another day. But if you need to do that, find a safe person, find that one friend that you can talk to, go see a counselor, journal, go for a walk, get some exercise. You know, there's a lot of things that you can do just to bring up some endorphins and make you feel better. And if you are really having trouble with thoughts and you feel like you're getting into a depressed state or an anxious state, please get help. You know, talk to your doctor about it. This video by no means is medical advice. I'm just giving some parenting tips. But if this is turning into something pathological or clinical, please don't wait to get help. Get help today. All right, tip number 3, and this is going to help you with tips 1 and 2, is to pray. I cannot stress this enough. It really does make a difference. And if you are in any doubt or any question about the power of prayer over your kid's life, I challenge you to take 30 days and wake up 30 minutes early on those 30 days and spend some time on your knees praying out loud over your children, and just watch what a difference it makes. A couple of little tips on how to pray. If it's not something that you're accustomed to doing, it helps to make a list, to literally write out a list of who you're praying for. It helps to actually pray out loud. It helps to be in a quiet space. My favorite prayer time is in the morning, but you don't really have to be on your knees in the morning by yourself. You could be driving down the road praying in your head. You could be walking around the block saying a prayer. You could be praying in the shower. You can literally pray anywhere. The important thing is that you're actually praying. But I do like to have a dedicated time to pray, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes, just to pray over my family. If you're not sure what to say or how to pray, I would encourage you to get a resource. Like, one of them is The Power of a Praying Mom. It's really good. I don't know if it's Power of a Praying Mother or Power of a Praying Mom, but I'm going to link it in the description. It's one of my favorite prayer books that teach you how to pray for your kids. And it teaches you, and it actually has written out prayers, so you can read it out loud. You don't even have to like make up the prayer or know what to say. But it teaches you like about praying for all different areas of their life. And some areas of my kids' life that I like to pray over is just like their current life, their friendships, their school friends, their protection, their health. I like to pray for their purpose in their life, that they are being drawn into their calling and their purpose, and that God will give me like guidance and wisdom and discernment on how to properly raise them. And I pray over our relationships, that we stay close and connected, and that I'm a good mom for them. I like to pray over their future marriages and future spouses and children and families and whatever God's will for their life is. I pray for protection for them, like just protecting them from bad things. I pray about generational things that are in our family, that I just pray protection over them from, and I pray that they get all the generational blessings of our family. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you can be praying over your kids. And what I have found, the big thing that I've really learned about prayer is it's not really just about making our kids better kids. You know, prayer has been just as much for me as it's been for them. You know, prayer has really helped me to find peace when I'm worried about my kids, or when I'm just over obsessive, you know, about things in my kids' lives. And prayer, I really feel it's helped me to be a better mom to my kids. I have a friend who always corrects me when I would say, well, I'm just gonna pray. And she would always say, no, Stephanie, don't ever say I'm just gonna pray. It's not just pray, because prayer is one of the most powerful things that you can do. So pray for your babies. My fourth and final tip for you is to try to appreciate the seasons and remember that it's just seasons. You know, I can tell you with raising my kids, my oldest one at the time of this video recording is 20 and my baby is 1. So I've been through all the seasons of parenting with 2 older kids, and now again with a baby. And I can tell you there have been some good seasons, and there have been some terrifying, difficult seasons. And I just want to encourage you, if you're having a tough time with one of your kids, I feel you, mama. I just want to encourage you, it's temporary. This is a season, and you're going to get through it. Just hang on. And if you're having a good time and you're in a good season, I just encourage you to savor that, enjoy it, because it's going to go so fast. And whenever you look back, you're going to look back on everything with a totally different lens. You're going to appreciate the challenges more. You're going to appreciate the good days more. And the biggest perspective you're going to have is how quick the whole season actually was. And so I just want to encourage you to remember it's just a season. You're going to get through it. Remember that when it's tough, and appreciate it when it's good. Godspeed, mamas.